Hi guys, it's Chris here from the Zombie Box Project. Today I pose a simple question to you. Who is the angriest person in gaming? Is it Mr. Rossetti, the pissed off mole from Animal Crossing? Is it Tyra from Soul Calibur? No, none of these. Here's a clue. He's a god. He was betrayed by the other gods, and because of this, he wants to kill the entire pantheon. Got it yet? It's not Kratos. I give you, ladies and gentlemen, Asura. That is indeed a man who knows how to rage. It appears Capcom are doing it again and bringing us a third-person action game. The major question on everyone's lips being, can this dethrone Dante? Can this kill Kratos? We're about to find out, in The Pros. Okay, first things first, in terms of development, this seems to be in pretty safe hands. I mean, there are two studios you could give a third-person hack and slash to, and they could make it passable no matter what the concept was. I mean, that is Santa Monica, who make God of War, and Capcom, which make Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, and this. So clearly this is on the right track in terms of pedigree. Okay, considering this game, I'd say my first major tip would be to play Bayonetta. I mean, I assume most of you have. It was a very well received game. If you haven't, go pick up a copy, you owe yourself to get it. Now, while this may seem a bit of a strange suggestion at first, the reason I say this is because they have quite similar art styles in theory. Now, what you have here in Asura's Wrath is a combination of sci-fi and Asian mythology. In Bayonetta, you had almost the exact same thing, but a Christian vein running through it instead. Clearly, that would be a good way to test the waters of the style before you actually go out and buy the game, just to make sure you like it. I take into account it is pretty weird at times, and I imagine because the developers are very similar, this game is likely to be very weird as well. Okay, one thing that's looking up, considering the developer's track record, are the control schemes and the frame rate. Okay, Bayonetta was running at about 60 frames per second on all the consoles it was released on. That is a challenge and a half. It was running really smoothly, it felt incredibly responsive, it was like every move was your own. Now, I hope that they replicate it in this, because this game would be made 10 times better if it had really crunchy controls. Of course, it was the actual control scheme which helped Bayonetta a lot as well. At some levels, it was very easy to pick up, quite simple. You could do some multi-button attacks that didn't require Street Fighter levels of precision. And on the other side of the game, you had incredibly difficult ones which did extra damage and looked very cool. You could play the game without being amazing at using a control stick, though. Okay, take games like Devil May Cry 3 or Ninja Gaiden, for example. You have to be amazing at using control stick and memorizing buttons to get very far in those games at all. Bayonetta just wasn't like that. It was simple at some levels and really complicated as others, and it was fun all the way through. I just hope Capcom can replicate it in Asura's Wrath now. I mean, nobody saw Bayonetta coming really, but it hit like a meteorite.
Who do you think you are? God.
Okay, another thing I picked up quite strongly from the trailers is that the bosses have a major focus in this game. Clearly it's a game about killing gods. Similar to God of War, you go around fighting these gigantic creatures. Now, I don't think there was ever one in God of War, though, that was bigger than the Earth. We've seen it in some of the trailers. It is gigantic. Too big for purposes in the game, to be honest. Asura has a fight with its finger. That's crazy. One thing is certain, though. We're going to get bosses in this game bigger than we've ever seen in any other game. They're probably going to hit their limit here, to be honest. There we have it. You can see it there. That is incredible. That guy is quite literally so fat that he has his own gravitational pull. It's like a joke somebody made in the development studio. How big should we make this next boss? Let's make him bigger than the moon. And they're like, okay, why not? Just to clarify for you guys, that's not even a very important boss. According to the developers, that's quite a minor enemy in the game. And the idea of that thing as minor blows my mind. On the other hand, it's not going to be perfect, and I'm going to tell you why, in the cons. Okay, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. I'm quite looking forward to this. I think it's going to be really impressive. There's one horribly glaring issue, however. Every third-person action game nowadays is referred to as a God of War clone. You know, the usual combo system, you pick up various weapons, there's quick time events during bosses, and you fight lots of very large bosses. Unfortunately, this game could not be any more of a clone. It is almost exactly the same. An incredibly angry god kills all the other gods because they've stripped him of his power for being too powerful. That is Kratos on a silver platter. In order to counterbalance this obvious ripoff, what the developers did was include a side story about Asura's daughter and how he's trying to protect her, and how in fact it's all very deep and meaningful. I'm going to be completely honest, it's bull. Look at him, he's just a very, very angry man. He's not got any other emotions. Or, so far we have not seen any hint of them. Come on Capcom, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's not badass Marine or straight edge Marine, so you're not making that much of a cliche. But just face up to it, you don't need this extra stuff. Another thing that may become apparent is that the game is just trying too hard. How many shots of planets have we seen in the trailer so far? That's usually a bad sign unless it's a space development sim. If it can pull off the awesome set pieces, well, fair enough. But it does just reach a point where you have lots of epic cutscenes and not much game. I hope this is not the case with Asura's Wrath. And as we watch Asura fight that gigantic finger, we move on to the verdict. Asura's Wrath looks to be a game which has heaps of promise. A talented and experienced development studio, a sweet art style, and what looks to be some awesome action set pieces. I just hope it holds up to the competition and realises that in essence it's God of War. There's nothing to be ashamed of about that, but there's always the potential to weigh it down with unneeded story elements. Thanks for watching this episode of the Zombie Box Project. Hope to see you again on Thursday.
なぜ迷い出た？帰る道も知らぬのに。何を思う？ただあることすらできぬのに。哀れな男だ。